All right, so here's what we're talking about. We're going to bring you right into this conversation. We got a lot of questions for you. We're going to keep you here for a while.
That's fine.
Okay? I know you're here working on some stuff. That's fine. We don't have any money, but
we'll ball bearings.
We'll pay you in something else. We've been talking about rules in the clubhouse. Eric Wedge came up with just a couple of rules in his first meeting. His rules: be on time, no earrings on the field, no cell phones in the clubhouse, have accountability, and respect for the game.
I like it. It should be a given, though. I mean, show up on time, play the game hard, go home, come back, do it again the next day. Cell phones, though, I mean, it's gotten out of control. I agree. Cell phones, video, laptops, all that stuff. When you come to the ballpark, it's time to get to work.
What were Lou's rules?
Lou really didn't have really set rules. He let the veteran guys kind of police the clubhouse, and I think that kind of took care of itself. I think it's the personality that's in the clubhouse kind of, the manager's job to kind of go around and read the personalities and find out who his leaders are and who's some of the guys he can count on. I think that's what Wedge is going to do. I think he's going to use spring training as kind of a barometer to kind of feel guys' personalities out, kind of find out who he's got watching his back a little bit, who he can count on, who's in his corner, and then from there just kind of take it from there. I know what he is going to do is try to build up some morale and try to get these young kids showing up, being accountable. And trying to get them going, a little kick in the butt, and kind of knowing who needs a pat on the back and who needs a kick in the ass, to be quite honest.
How important are these rules in general in baseball? And I think you're an interesting guy to answer that question, because I imagine you as somewhat of a rebellious personality who wouldn't want a ton of rules, and yet these are all rules that are really for the good of a team, so I wonder if there's some, dichotomy there.
You got to have some set boundaries, and there's going to be times when guys are going to, you're going to have to kind of, screw you once, shame on you, give them a kind of a little card every now and then. But for the most part, I think he's going to have some rules coming in. He's going to have to establish a little credibility, get some trust going. I mean, he's new to the whole deal. I mean, look, you talk about instability. What is this, the 7th manager in like 9 years or something crazy? So it's going to, he's going to have to get things going, get things turned around, and get everybody to buy in. But what I see so far in Eric, he's kicked butt, man. I mean, it's much needed. He's a veteran guy. What I love is the fact that his old school presence, man. He's bringing that back. Somewhere along the way, that kind of baton got missed, where show up on time, play hard, break up a double play, knock a guy's butt out in the left field. Those kind of things. It kind of somewhere along the way, I got lost. Everybody's your buddy, and it's all patting butt and all that. Let's get back to kicking some butt and playing some good hard baseball.
Just on that, Brock, I know you get a question. Let me jump in there, because it's something that I've asked a bunch of times, and it's been my number one feeling about this team this year, that I don't expect to win 90 games. I don't even expect them to necessarily go 500. I want them to be tougher.
They should play 500. I mean, they got a good pitching staff. I think they'll be fine.
All right. Well, fine. That'll be your expectation. I'll be happy with 75
expectations.
wins.
I think it should be a given.
I want them to fight somebody. I want this team to throw high and tight. I want them to not take it when people throw high and tight on them. I want them to be the toughest team in the league.
But that's not. I mean, that's just playing the game the way the damn game's supposed to be played. I mean, you pitch inside, a guy takes you deep, and he starts flapping on you. Next time up, you meet him at home plate, man. I mean, Nolan Ryan, you better run your butt around next time up. I mean, the little things like that. I mean, that should be a given in baseball. You play the game hard. You get drilled, you go down to first base. They drill you again the second time, and then that's another story. But there's certain things that are part of the game. That's the way the game's supposed to be played, and the game's supposed to police itself.
So help me understand this a little bit, because Mike Hargrove was a guy that I think was some old school. I think John McLaren, at least verbally, tried to present that image and otherwise. How much can Eric Wedge do with this, and how much is it about the 25 guys in that clubhouse?
There's no doubt. A lot of it is the personalities of the guys in there, but I think Eric's going to get guys, right from the start of spring training, I think he's going to get guys buying into it. And I think that's what spring training is for, to try to find out a little bit, again, like I said before, the personalities of the team.
Does he remind you a little bit? He reminds me for some reason. I can't put a finger on it. And I didn't watch baseball.
He's wound up like Lou. There's no doubt about it, man. He doesn't drop the F-bombs like Lou does, and I don't know if he's going to throw bases like Lou does, but that's the beauty of Lou. Lou is a piece of work. There's only one Lou, but I think Eric brings that energy that's been missing for a long time in that clubhouse.
How will they be tough? That's a word that we've heard Jack Zrenzik throw around a bunch. That I think when we have spent time on a couple occasions, and Eric came on our show, and we met him in person, and you're right, he's wound up.
Work counts, man. Guys know, small ball, do the little things, get the bunts down, hit and run, get some movement going, and the pitchers, like Salk said, pitchers pitching inside. pitching to both sides of the plate, getting guys off the plate, working their eyes up and down. I think it's a collective. It's got to be a team. Basically, they got to all do their own little part.
Jay Buhner's in studio with us, and we're going to keep him here for a little while. But what? How does Wedge do that? Like, I understand how the players can do that, but how does Wedge change that culture in order to make that the norm in Seattle?
It's going to take. That's why it's not going to happen in a year, man. It's going to take a couple of years. I think what we were talking about realistically, the team. I think first and foremost, you got to look yourself in the mirror and understand what you have, and go from there. And I think realistically, these guys, they should finish 500, but I think every year has got to be a little bit closer and build a little bit more and keep building off of that year, and then adding a few pieces here and there. And filling in some of the voids. And then, then again, too, finding out there's some certain people in there that don't need to be there, be a part of it, and then next. And being able to stand behind your decision, saying, hey, we got to move on. It's in the best interest of the organization and the club. Not speaking on anything in particular, but...
Well, we got a lot to ask you about. We've got to ask you about Ken Griffey Jr., who is coming back to be a part of the team and to take a special consultant role. And obviously, he's somebody that you know well, so I want your take on that. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment.
Special consultant?
He's a special consultant. We want to also remind people, listen tomorrow to Mike and Mike in the Morning for your chance to go to Disney World and meet the guys. Be listening in the 8 o'clock hour all this week for the Subway Fresh Take Word of the Day. Hear that word. Call it in, or text it in rather, to 710-710, and you can be on your way to sunny Florida. It's all from Subway and 710 ESPN Seattle. Somebody was confused, right? He just punched me right in the kidney. Just punched me in the kidney while I'm doing the read. Just right while I'm reading. He just punched me in the kidney.
He wants to
He didn't miss a beat,
Somebody
man.
texted in and thought that this was a read to go with us, Brock, to Orlando, and was wondering whether or not they would have to hang out with us once they got there, or whether they could ditch us once they got to Orlando. I don't know whether you can do that or not. We're not going. You get to go with Mike and Mike, not with us. All right, more with Buhner and who I'm going to take down. I've already lost to Ray, but Buhner's he's still bigger than me, but he's closer to my size than Ray is. We'll ask him about Griffey next. Brock Salk, the new sports leader, 710 ESPN Seattle.